This video will be covering spoilers from the new patch 6.2. Fair warning before moving on. With the release of 6.2, we got access to a new trial, the Storm's Crown, a fight against Bio-Roxas, Empress of the Winds, and one of the 4 Archfiends under Golbez. If you've played Final Fantasy IV, you'll probably pick up a lot on the reference from this fight. There's stuff from the music to even some of the attacks. I'll try to have references up on screen, but if I miss some, let me know in the comments down below. One thing I'll point out in the beginning is that Bio-Roxas has a small dagger on her waist that does not seem to be used. This also appears in her original artwork for Final Fantasy IV. Her long flowing hair and gigantic sword are weapons in this fight. Like always, I will say this is not a raid guide. I just like to shine a light on the attacks and animations that sometimes are overlooked in the heat of battle. This fight is especially unique with a lot of the effects and animations, so without further ado, let's take a closer look at Bio-Roxas. The auto attack in this fight is an orb of air that this fiend throws at the main target. The orb has air circling in around it as Bio-Roxas casts it forward. Void Arrow 4 is the normal raid ride for this trial. A dome of air is spawned and pushed outwards as green arrow magic cuts through the air. Savage Barbary is a 2-step attack that Bio-Roxas will use throughout the fight. In normal, she will dash towards the center before winding up for the attack. In the EX version, she actually will do a sliding dash towards the center. As she stands up, she uses the momentum to spin and do a mini raid ride attack with her sword, sending out arrow magic. In the normal version, we get additional effects showing how the fiend will attack with her sword. You can also tell how she will attack with her stance, which is what you need to do in the EX trial. The first of the 2 variations to this opening attack is a giant swing onto the ground. As it connects with the ground, energy kicks up from both sides of her. The other variation has her twisting back before spinning and unleashing a whirlwind around her with a safe spot in the hitbox. The arcing line during this first attack shows what the second step of the attack will be. Bio-Roxas twists before launching her sword up into the air. It sinks into the ground, causing a shockwave to push out. Hair raid always follows up this attack. Bio-Roxas throws her hair forward to latch onto the sword, as green orbs circle around it and hit the sword, causing it to glow. In the normal version, there's also like the red lines to indicate that she's going to dash over there. So in the normal version, she will always crouch down and slide towards the sword using her hair to do a wide conal cleave attack. Arrow magic slices through the air from this attack. In the EX trial, she can float instead of crouch, which results in another tornado-like attack with the center being safe. After both of these attacks, the hero will drop the sword into the ground before Bio-Roxas picks it up again. The EX version uses attacks from the normal version here alongside the resolution of hair raid. These are Deadly Twist, which is a stack mechanic, and Hairspray, which is a spread mechanic. Deadly Twist has hair appearing onto the party and twisting upwards in a deadly spike, while the Hairspray attack has hair appearing and jutting multiple spikes out of the hair. When spawning either of these attacks, Bio-Roxas' hand crackles with lightning before she slams her hand to the ground, pushing out hair and lightning. I want to think this is a subtle nod to the fact that she can cast lightning in her fight in Final Fantasy IV, but that could be a stretch. Void Arrow 3 is the shared tank buster in the normal version, but a normal tank buster with a puddle in the EX version. This looks to be a stronger version of the auto attack, with the orb glowing green and causing a large puddle of air to swirl around the target. Teasing Tangles is up next, and has 4 circles appearing with hair spikes in the middle. It's kind of a mess to look at with hair everywhere, but it seems like Bio-Roxas slams her hand to the ground, and hair surrounds her while hair strands shoot out from the 4 spikes to latch onto players. You get the Tangled debuff that slows your speed and keeps you locked in the circle. While you are tangled up, Bio-Roxas will cast Secret Breeze, which shoots out 2 sets of protein waves. You can see magic surround her sword as she stabs it into the ground to trigger the attack. In the EX version, you have to dodge the first set, but the second set will actually target everyone. Also during this part of the EX trial, some players will get giant puddles that do the same attack as the spread mechanic Hairspray, just with a much larger area of effect. The name of this attack is also called Hair Flay instead of Spray. The players that were not targeted by these puddles have to stack together to resolve these upgrade attacks. 2 pyramids circle the targeted player, indicating that you need another person with you to avoid being launched upwards with the hair attack. Void arrows are also thrown out during this tangled mess, spawning blue tornadoes on the ground. In the EX version, there's also a point where you are targeted with the PlayStation icons and tethered to each other instead of a spike of hair. And Curling Iron is the transition attack for the phase change. Bio-Roxas will start spinning, drawing in air around herself and pushing players out if they're inside her hitbox. Her hair forms around her in a kind of exosuit that augments her body. Hair also spikes out of her arms and legs, and the hair bulks up her arms and legs depending on the attack she is doing. In normal, we get a cutscene of her rocketing up into the air and exploding with energy before she creates a giant fist and rockets back towards the ground in a massive explosion. This attack is called Cannabis, which literally means a descent or downward movement. Also, if you didn't notice, the curling iron attack is a nod to her like tornado form in Final Fantasy IV, as is like the actual exosuit since she's using here to, you know, block the incoming attacks. The second phase is actually insane. So I'm gonna try to explain as much as I can and show off all the different unique animations, but it's hard, so just bear with me. So for the first attack, she'll dash towards different people and punch at them, while leave behind an after image that then dashes forward as the original leaps to the next target. She'll then center up and bulk up her leg before doing a spinning kick, creating clones that spin outwards to the edges with their own kicks. She'll then slam her hand down on the floor, covering her hitbox with hair that seems to trigger the outside clones to attack. The clones do 2 sets of quick dashes through the arena. The original Barbariccia then grabs a part of the arena with a giant hand and hurls it up into the air. She then charges up to do another spinning kick while the clones close back in on her with their own kicks. There are also rocks that 1 person and 2 tanks have to bait in the normal version, while this is all resolving, though in the EX trial it seems like everyone has a rock that is baited to them. Like I said, this phase is pure insanity and chaos. Even some of the times I've been in Party Finder, half the time people are still messing up mechanics, so there's just so much that comes out. Barbariccia will follow up with a set of outward and inward spinning kicks. Each time you can actually see her bulk up before jumping into the air to unleash the slicing kicks. Barbariccia then bulks up both arms and begins pounding the ground over and over, dealing a ton of damage before doing a 2-handed ground pound to end the attack. In the EX trial, she follows this up actually by jumping into the air, bulking up, and punching the ground, causing rocks to explode out of the ground. Barbariccia can also do an attack where she slams the ground and causes smaller AoE puddles to spawn and explode with dirt and rocks. She then tosses up rocks that target the highest aggro with a flare effect. The players who are not targeted by these flares get attacked by Barbariccia, who flips above them before bulking the leg up and slamming down. There's also a number of times where Barbariccia will jump into the air and kick the ground to knock other players back. Barbariccia will do a spinning kick animation and shoot out twisters that slowly move out across the arena. The last thing I want to point out is her enrage mechanic, which is actually called Maelstrom. I thought that was a really nice nod to her iconic attack. And I think that is all the attacks that are unique to this fight, though Barbariccia will continue to mix and match as the fight moves on. It really is insane how chaotic this fight is. They really upped the ante with the EX trials and Endwalker, and it has been so much fun progging this fight. If you want to see my static progress or the upcoming Savage raids, we stream every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday evening. I cannot guarantee expert gameplay, but I can guarantee moments like this.
The only mechanic I'm confused on is the CDs.
The CDs?
What?
CDs, no!
Oh my god, are you serious?
God damn it!
Are you serious? What the fuck? Anyways, if you enjoyed, why not subscribe or share this video? I have other animation breakdowns just like this video on the channel, so be sure to check them out, and I will see you in the next video. Also, a huge thank you to my patrons. If you want to support the channel, head over to Patreon or check out my channel memberships. If I have those up. I don't know if I do.